Okay, so we're going to continue on with this lap book following Nick's Lapbook 2023 tutorial that she has provided on YouTube. And of course we're doing it our way with our own papers, and the book is a bit of a different size, so we are adjusting, and I'm trying to show you really my entire process so that you can see the thought that has to go into how you can use some pages and how you can adapt things to what you have, so that it works. So you know, the instruction is basically the basic how-tos. So where we had left it last, we had made the cover in section part 1, and with the 2 flaps that are going to go, the inner flaps, they're each 1/2 inch spines, and the big book itself has actually a 2-inch spine, so we've got a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And when those go together, they're going to leave a 1 inch in here on the main spine of the book. So that was part 1, and we got that done, and now we're just putting that aside until we really need to come back to it. But we do have our sizing, and what I'm doing with this one is I am making the book a little bit bigger, like I said, because I am going to be using some backdrop papers from the Tim Holt's line, and these are a little longer. I believe these are 10 by 6, so my book is going to be a little bit taller, and so I have adapted the cutting and everything to accommodate these pages, which I want to use. All right, so I'm also using some pages from some old scrapbook booklets that I have, and some of the pages are double-sided and some are single-sided, so I'm having to keep that in mind when I'm putting these into the book. So I'm trying to show you all of that, and how I'm adapting and how I'm thinking through it all so that I can use what I have to make a lap book that's similar to the lap book that Nick makes. All right. So we were left in part 2. I believe we made this inner piece that's going to go into this book, that's going to fit in that 1 inch space. When we're all done, that's how it's going to go. It's going to fit in there. So we worked on this inner piece, and we created this in part 2 of the tutorial, and we got to here. Now some of the things are missed out of next tutorials, and I'm going to try and include them because I want to make sure that you can see how she ended up with all of the things. And so the next part here is basically that we had left this piece not knowing what we're going to do, but what we are going to do is add a folio closure, and folio closure is like this, what we did here on this little one. It's just a little round button type things, and then the string that wraps around so that it'll close and open like such. So we've got more to do on this later. Of course, that's just, again, we're working on foundations right now. So we're going to put all of this back, and we're going to finish up by putting our folio closures onto here. Now I'm not going to show you that again because we've already done that in the previous video, but I'm going to get that done and then I'll be back. Okay, so what we're going to do, I got that on, and I had to cut that a little bit shorter again because I'm dealing with that chomper, what do you call that, rivet maker, hole puncher, and dealing, and because it's so limited in size here to get into that, I had to cut my flap down a bit. So there we go. It still covers, and it works just fine. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is get a piece of paper that's going to be big enough to go across the entire back that you have. This is the back. It's going to go across the back all the way up to there. And then you're going to have a little bit of a spine as well here, about a 1/4 of an inch. So that's going to accommodate that little spine that we have here, plus add a little bit more. So when I glue that on, we're going to have a little bit of space here, because we're going to add some more pages in a minute or two. But let's keep on with this one. And I decided I was okay to use a single-sided piece because I'm going to cover it with my backdrop pages. So let's carry on here. Okay, so just remember that this little spine that you made here is a little bit bigger than the spine that you have on that intersection piece. So this one I think was just under 1/4, and this is just over 1/4. So just enough to add a couple more pages in. So then what we have to do is get to this side, and then we're going to add a little piece on here, and it's going to flip. So I thought what I would do is just add a tag. I've got a number of tags, so I thought I'd add a tag on there, and then that's going to go in there, and that'll flip like that. All right, so I'm going to just glue this on. So I've just glued this on, and this is the piece that came out of a window. Then I created this little window envelope, and I cut it. This piece came out of here, somewhere like this. So this is, like I said, keep all your little bits. So now I've got this tag glued on the back. So when that flips open, you can right there, and this will go inside of here, and that'll get glued onto there. And then we will glue this book in here on this side of that little spine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm putting glue on. I cut some of that tag off because I don't need it to go too long through here. So I put glue on that side so that when I put my tag down right side up on that side, and this is going to fit here like that, maybe down a little bit. And I left, if you can see here, I left a little bit of that scalloped edge peeking over the top of that page. All right, so it's going to look like this. All right, so I've got this book here, trying to bind that in, or just to glue it in, but I'm thinking maybe we'll sew it in when we put those inside pages into the book here. Right, we'll do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch through the center of these pages and right through the entire book. All right, so I don't think you guys need a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, so first I need to explain, I did this one piece of cover because I want to be able to start putting in some of these backdrop pages, and I want to cover that piece with that. Nick used a piece of like the green folder and did a back page with a seam, or the you know, an extra little edge here, and then on that edge she glued a long double-sided piece for the front that looks like a map. But I've used the same paper and just folded it over. She put this on the front, but when she opens hers, because it is a double-sided, she's got more something like this, so that we can work with adding pieces here. So since I'm trying to follow next tutorial, I know it's going to be a little different anyway. What I've done is I went around and I browned up my edges with the ink refillers for the Distress inks. And just because they're going to show through there. I don't want it too wet. I don't want it to break down. Anyway, then I'm cutting another piece that's going to fit in there and act like that envelope or two-sided piece that Nick had in there. So I'm going to just cut this down to fit. Okay, so after a lot of fiddly farting around, I realized that Nick also had this as a double page here, so that she could have this little flip out here. So and then she puts a file folder on and it extends. So I'm going to do it different. I'm going to get sort of a similar effect, but I'm going to just put a piece of paper under here that's going to cover this. It'll peek out the top and it'll have this flap here. And I will probably put this piece on here. What do you think? Yeah, so I'm going to just glue that on there. Get a little bit of an edge peeking out here. And I'm going to leave this open. So I'm just going to glue the sides here and all the way down to this seam. And then I'll have this bit of a flap. So just there. And on this side the same. So this will cover up that tag as well, which is what we want. I'm going to go up just a bit here for you. Oops, sorry, a little wonky. So I'm just going to put that on, but I'm going to make sure that I've got glue all the way down to there and at the bottom of that seam. I'm not going to leave that open. I want that all glued. All right. So line it up on the inside there because we can trim any outside if we need to. So we're just going to make sure that that's going to be good there, so that that can flap like that. And I'll have this nice little edge on here on the front. All right. So we have this part open. And we have these edges glued. I'm going to clamp them. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to round my corners on everything here. Hoping I'm not going to get that caught. So I'm just going to round the corner on every little bit here. I'm rounding this one, that one. That one I'll leave straight, and I will do this one as well. And the file folder off the very beginning. Now that's a little thick. This is a good chomper. So that's how that's looking so far. She had another file there that she puts in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it the same way. I don't think I'm going to have anything else sticking out because I've already got this sticking out. Her page normal actually just covered and it didn't extend. So it was just, but that for me is strengthened that front up. And now I have a pocket here. I'm going to trim that up a little bit because it's a little crooked. Need a little bit off of that edge, but I can fix it later. And then we're to here. And now she puts a file in here that just kind of closes up like that. So I'm going to find something that I'm going to use for that. And I believe I'm going to put that piece there. And that will flip like that. So flip, 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 pockets, tucks. We're going to add some bits to this too. Hang on. Well, let me gather up my little bits here that I'm going to use, and show you what I'm going to do. Oh my goodness, trying to choose a paper. Okay, I think I have it now. I'm going to cut this little bit out of here because I'm going to want to put this piece on here. That little piece cut out. Now I'm not going to use this piece like I had thought. So you can hand cut it, doesn't look too bad. Or you can put it through, just kind of figuring out where you're going to put that, and then cut with your envelope punch board. Okay, so I did glue that down. I'm going to find something to go in there, kind of like this, but I found this to go on here. And if I put that on an angle like that, it'll be a nice pocket here, and it'll stick out a little bit there. On that folder like that. So I think I'm going to just glue that onto there. So that's a little tricky. I just put the glue on this underneath piece, on those edges, and I'm going to have to cut that off a little bit later, or try and pull it down a titch if I can, maybe, to cover that entire, and then cut this corner off. So if I keep that even there, there will be a nice, it needs to be on an angle, but it needs to, and it needs to come out enough. There we go. We're good. I'm leaving it like that. Okay, and I'm going to cut a little piece and put this in here because I really like the brown and the green. Okay, so I trimmed that edge up because that really bothered me that it was that off. And so it is glued on. As you can see, I'll have to put something on there or sneak that back a bit. And yeah, so we're good there. And on here, not sure what we're gonna do, because I don't like that bit there. Okay, we'll figure that out. Okay, so just to finish this up, I want to make sure that when you are gluing this piece, this insert piece that we made with the file and ending with the portfolio, when you're gluing that piece onto your cover, remember to leave a little bit there, and this has got to be an inch, remember, because that's got to go, that has got to go into the book, and that's an inch. So remember that. You've got that little bit that we're going to put another book in. I've just got the pages tea dyeing, staying, and trying to dry right now. And then I will sew a little book in there. And then to the front here. So you've got to make sure that you've got all three of those down, glued down onto, I ended up cutting another spine. Remember that one little tiny piece of card that I had left out of that when I cut the cover? So anyway, I made sure that I have the space that I'm going to put my added pages, and then I have that insert that we just created, and I made sure that I got all of that glued into that space. I hope that you can see that. So I did put that spine on because I've just using some cheap cardstock paper pads, and they're really cheap, and this paper's flimsy as can be. So I'm strengthening it up with these cards and the backdrops, and some tapes in places. I'm going to be using some of that tape as well. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure you remember that part about the spine. It's really important that that's going to be. And now that I have this on here drying, so all I did was I just took the book and I made sure I got all the spines in place, sticking out where they needed to be and flat, and then I put the piece onto that and pushed it down, squared it up, and let it dry real good. And I'm going to cover that with a doily, paper doily, one of those doilies that I've just tea dyed, to just cover that to look nice. And I may leave a little space open here. I don't know. So I am definitely going off a different track than Nick's lap book, but I'm following her instructions for building as closely as I can. And she's got a documented type of theme for her papers and whatnot, and mine is going to be more of a botanical. So, you know, this is where we differ, and this is where books, like I said, have their own life, and they come to their own life. So I'm going to glue that onto there with some really good paste glue, and all I want to do is just to have that, hide that spine, what do they call it, chipboard that I put on there, but I just needed something to really strengthen that. So that's what I'm going to do. And like I said, I've got pages coming for the little book at the back, and it's just some nice pages that I am tea dyeing the backs because they were white, and so pretty. So I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to sew them with a couple of pages of the coffee dye paper blanks. And then that's what's going to go in this part here. And then this insert for the book will be done. So that's what's going to go when we got our original book. This is the piece that's going to go in that middle. Ta-da! So we got a lot still to do. I mean, we've got both left and right. Total. We've got lots still to do. So, now if I've made it too fat, what I can do is take out these pages in the end. But I think we might end up with something like that. And I think it's going to be nice. So thanks again for watching. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment and let me know what if I can help you out. I certainly will. Okay, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one.